It says record.
Welcome to Milk and Cookies. Today we have an in-studio guest with us. He's actually from the same small town that I am in Arkansas, Umpire. We've got Josh with us. What's up, Josh?
Hey man, great to be here. Great
Yeah.
to be here.
So we're both from Umpire. How did we end up in Fort Smith? Umpire, for those of you that don't know, is like less than a dot on the map.
Yeah, half the population's in this room right now.
Yeah, there were 6 people in my class. How many were in yours?
Man, I think we graduated like 12 or, I mean, it was a big class.
Yeah, that's a
12,
big,
13, something like
it's a
that.
huge class for Umpire.
Really, really interesting place to go to school.
Yeah.
But we didn't know that until we moved away.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas City originally.
Okay.
So I moved into Umpire. So you went to Umpire your whole school?
Oh yeah, man. I'm a K through 12er.
Yeah, Wildcat.
Yeah, full blood Wildcat
Yeah.
from birth. Of course, my mom and dad, as you know, both taught school there, and just they're really great people.
Oh yeah, Mr. and Miss Johnson, loved them to death.
Miss Keith and Patsy.
Yeah. I had him for ninth, 10th. I guess I had him every year of high school, all 4 years. Some version of a history class every year.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting because I had my mom for first grade
Yeah.
and second grade, and then I had my dad for history, whatever history you have.
Yeah.
It really 7th through 12th.
Really.
So it was in a constant presence of my parents.
Yeah, you couldn't get away with anything.
No, they were really good though about kind of giving me the benefit of the doubt sometimes when somebody might say something.
Yeah.
My dad he was really big on if you found out something in kind of a way that someone was just trying to get me in trouble.
Yeah.
I didn't know it at the time, but looking back on it, and after you leave home and you start your own family or your own career or whatever, your dad, if he's a man like my dad is just becomes a really great friend.
Yeah.
And we've had many conversations about things he knew about that I didn't know he knew about.
Yeah.
And so just a great man for sure.
He definitely. You said he would always give you the benefit of the doubt, and I can confirm that. We all screwed up in high school. He was a counselor too, so I've been in to talk to him a few times. But he talked to you the same on the day that you were in trouble as he did the day he found out I was valedictorian.
Right.
He still respected you as a person. So
Yeah, and he actually did a great job of treating me the same as he did everyone else.
the other students.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is probably not an easy task for a father.
Yeah.
Me being a father, I would imagine I wouldn't do as well as he did at it. But of course, mom, sweetest woman ever.
Absolutely.
Just to this day, it's nice to have somebody like my mom. I wish everybody had a mom like my mom. I know that the world's not a perfect place, and my mom's not a perfect person because none of us are. But I would say if anybody comes close,
Yeah.
it's probably her.
She definitely tries, and I would say for the right reasons.
For sure.
She just wants to love people. So you grew up in Umpire, graduated from Umpire. Where'd you go then? Because you and I just met recently, actually. I've known your parents forever, but you're a few years, we'll say, less young than I am.
Yeah, I'm getting a lot less young by the day, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I just hit 40 this year. You're 32.
32.
Yeah, I was so I was out of high school before you got into it.
Yeah. I moved there in 9th grade. So
okay.
2004, 2003, 2004, somewhere in there.
Okay, well, I'd been gone 3 or 4 years
Yeah.
at that point, but I graduated high school, went immediately, to college. I went to Henderson State University. First semester, I killed it, and 4.0, really pouring my heart into it. But I was working basically full time to pay for my apartment and going to school full time to keep my scholarship and all of that. And it really, I didn't have a goal I was at college mainly because I thought I was supposed to go, and I think there's a lot of people that are out there, same scenario.
Yeah,
And
they think it's either McDonald's or college.
right, and of course, nowadays trade schools are great, and there's a lot of great opportunities. There was then. I didn't seek them out. Wasn't very intelligent about some things that I did, decisions I made going forward. But second semester, I just already ran out of steam. Working all the time, trying to go to school, trying to do the college thing too.
Yeah, yeah.
And plus, I'm a big hunter, and turkey season came around, and it was do your homework or go turkey hunting, and sometimes turkey hunting won.
I understand.
But anyway, made it through that year. Lost my scholarship, and actually went to work for my pastor back in Umpire. His name was Kenny Bazell.
Yeah, I know Brother Kenny. Or new Brother Kenny.
New Brother Kenny, wonderful man. And Kenny, he knew I was in a spot, so he kind of reached out. We had always been. I was in his youth group, and
Yeah.
he wasn't very much older than me. He was, I don't know, probably the difference in you and I, probably 7 or 8 years. And he had a computer company, a computer service company.
Yeah, he always came to the school and did the software updates and stuff on their computers.
Right, and at the time you were there, I had already left.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But I had worked for him from '01 to about, I guess, the beginning around '03. Worked for Kenny, and I learned so much from that man about life, and of course being a great pastor and a great friend. And we worked in Texarkana, east side of Texas, so every day I got to basically drive him. And some days we talked, and some days we didn't say anything,
Yeah,
But I got to spend so many hours, 70 hours a week sometimes, with Kenny, just driving back and forth and seeing the character of a real man, that wasn't my dad.
Yeah, somebody outside your household that lived it in that same manner.
Right, and he really, he didn't take any, he didn't take any crap off anybody. He's a man's man.
Yeah.
Big time hunter, big time, a cattle rancher, kind of rough guy, but loved Jesus so much, loved me, loved the church, loved his family.
Did a lot for the youth in the community, if I remember right. Teens and stuff at the church.
He did. He was just and a godsend for the church at the time. When Kenny came there, the church was really struggling. There's some past things that had happened sometimes in churches.
Yeah, it does.
And he really came in, just obviously from God, ordained from God to be there at that time, for the church, and for me. While I was working there for Kenny, I got married. And I was, let's see, 20 years old.
Wow. Young buck.
20 years old. I got married December. By Valentine's Day, pregnant with twins.
I met them.
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
They're nearby. Met them, and I know, now that you know who they are, and they're great men.
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
great men, and a lot of that's not for me. It's just that God bless them. I feel like they're better men than me, and that's like my goal. Like if your children can be better than you, then that's what every parent wants.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I feel like that is what's happened. But anyway, back to that time, you're pregnant with them, working forever shifts with Kenny, it seemed like it's 70, 80 hours some weeks. And the boys were actually born at preemies, and a lot of struggle there, a lot of time in the hospital with their mom and with them. And she just did a great job fighting through all that and getting them here.
Yeah.
And very proud of her. She and I are not together anymore, but we've raised the kids as a unit.
Yeah. Co-parenting, they call it nowadays.
Yes, we co-parented. I wasn't perfect in it. She wasn't, but we really tried so hard to make sure we always made it about the kids, and never about feelings of our own or
getting back at each other.
Right. When I would get off track in that direction or whatever, she might call me out on it, and vice versa. Sometimes, probably less that way than me. But anyway, we got them here through the grace of God, and they were healthy for the most part. They were about they were about 4.5 years old, and we had JC, my daughter. JC's just, if you don't like JC, you got problems. She's just that kind of kid. But wonderful young lady she's turning into, and I'm so proud of her and her stand for. She stands for what's right, and the boys do too.
And she's I haven't met her. I've seen pictures on Facebook. She's teenager.
Yeah, she's
early teenager.
14-ish.
Ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
14-ish. An old soul, loves old records and old cars, and she'd rather hear Conway Twitty than something that's on now. Really just interesting. She's kind of vintage.
Yeah.
The way she lives her life.
Kid.
But there's definitely nothing wrong with that. She likes she'd rather have an old truck than a new car.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'm just very blessed on that side of it. But when the boys were about 8 years old, I guess JC would have been around 3. They started having seizures, and both of them.
Both of them did.
Both of them did, and just within a few weeks of each other, both of them are having seizures, and they're having a lot of them. And of course, being like anybody else does when their kid is sick or has a condition, you go everywhere, you do everything, you try everything that you can try to make it better, and you find out very quickly in that scenario and under those conditions how powerless you are as a parent. And my dad, I called him one time, and I was just losing it, like I don't know what to do, my dad with his kind wisdom said, "Son, if you were sitting right beside them, you couldn't make their heart beat one more time. You don't have that power. You trust God. You do all you can for them, but you put your trust in God, and you let the chips fall where they may, and you know that whatever happens, He still loves you, and He loves them."
Yeah.
And just the best advice I've ever gotten, because from that moment on, you move into the seizures still happen, but they're far more controlled, and they're able to live basically a normal life now.
So they still have them to this day?
They still have them to this day. Just not as many, and fortunately, and a lot of tweaking goes into medications and diet and all sorts of things to try to keep those things at bay. And we're still praying, obviously, that God will take those things away. But if He allows them to continue, that they'll have a purpose in their life to reach others. And I think back to when Paul said he would constantly ask God to remove the thorn from his flesh.
Yeah.
And we don't know what that was. And I think the reason we don't is so we can all relate to it. Because we all have that. We all have something. Something that holds us back, something that plagues us, something that attacks us or hurts us in some type of way. And sometimes God allows those things to continue despite our earnest prayers, because He knows they have a greater purpose
Yeah. Absolutely.
in our lives and in the lives of others. And that's where real faith kicks in, and trust in your Heavenly Father to understand that He's hurting for you. And He has the power to stop it, but he has to allow it, because if He doesn't, somebody may not hear about Christ. Somebody may not see an example. Somebody may not have a connection with you that later leads to that. And when you can lay your head down at night and know that you're loved that way, and know that He hasn't given up on you, and He hasn't run out on you, and He hasn't forgotten about you, and that your life has a purpose, and that everything in it that happens is for a purpose, you can shut your eyes and you can rest well, knowing that there's hope.
Yeah, and you're not in control. You can't stress about it, won't change it, worry and won't change it. All you can do is trust.
And I'm glad I'm not in control.
Yeah.
Because if I were, I would mess things up so bad.
Yeah, absolutely.
So badly. And the things I have been, quote unquote, in control of, I really wasn't. I just took control of them.
Yeah.
And they went wrong.
Yeah.
When I didn't wait on Him, you know. During that time, they began to have the seizures and things like that. Laura and I had gotten a divorce, and you know, I was a stupid kid, you know, basically arrogant, hard-headed. Not much has changed. I'm just older. But I thought the best way to fix that was get married again. You know, I'm gonna run out and get married again, and I'm gonna have this life I always wanted. You know, and a short time later, the walls on that little clay building that I built fell in on us, and the thing that I thought would save us almost destroyed us. And that's what happens when you put yourself in front of what God's will is, and you make decisions, rash decisions, out of fear and out of pain. And what you end up with is a structure that won't stand. Your house is not built on the rock, it's built on your own power. And you have very little.
Yeah.
You find out when you do that. So that ended. Shortly after that ended, I began to start thinking about what I've done wrong. And I'm not talking about sin, but just decisions I made that I could, the first time in my life, you know, mid-30s, and started really thinking about what can I do better? What if this is my fault?
Yeah.
We live in a society that's got every finger pointed at somebody else. It's never anybody's fault. Nobody ever takes responsibility for their actions. And I decided to start taking some.
It's easier to blame somebody else sometimes, it seems. I had a real trouble with that in high school. Miss Skinner, you know her, Sherry.
Very well.
She called me out on it my senior year, and I think about it a lot. I've never told her that, but she pulled me aside one day my senior year, and she told me, Levi, I love you, and I know you've been through a lot. I know you're going through a lot right now, and you got all this going on. She goes, but if you would just quit blaming everybody else for everything. She goes, a lot of it is blame, or the blame should be placed on someone else. She goes, but that's one of your biggest holdbacks, and it's going to hold you back in life if you don't learn how to accept the blame for some things and your responsibility on quit putting the blame on everybody else. And I think about that sometimes.
Oh, it's...
You don't have to tell her that, but...
we don't want anybody's head is too swelled up there. We'll have to...
The big TikTok star.
Yeah, well, she is.
Yeah, she's like...
doing great.
Yeah, everybody knows her on TikTok now.
Oh, yeah, she's a mess, man. She's a great woman. I've had her on my fire pit talks.
Oh, okay,
before,
yeah.
and she always brings a lot to the table, a lot of wisdom,
Yeah.
a lot of advice, and some humor.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's another teacher from Umpire. She taught with your dad forever. She was my, let's see, English for 2 years, speech 1 year, Spanish for 2 years, and if we had a comp class, I don't remember if we did, but if we did, she was a teacher for that. Was she one of your teachers?
Oh, she was my English teacher, my Spanish teacher, speech
Yeah.
teacher, and God bless her having to put up with us, man.
Yeah.
And patience of a saint, I
Absolutely.
tell you. And to this day, she moved up to the area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was
And
near here.
I ran into her at the gym one day, and really ever since, like, we check on each other, and she's become a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Which is neat after, coming from a position of authority.
Exactly.
A lot of people can't make that transition smoothly like she did, and my dad's the same way, and of course Mom and a lot of other teachers that we had up there.
Yeah.
Very much so.
She's the one that actually introduced you and I. Well, she sent me your info on Facebook when I moved here. Said, this is Mr. Johnson's son, send him a friend request.
Right. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was commenting on her. She does TikTok lives a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was commenting there the other day, and I always say Miss Skinner. And she finally corrected me. She goes, would you please quit saying that? I haven't been your teacher since 2007. Just call me Sherry.
I tell you, once they're Miss or Mr. something, it's hard.
Yeah. I taught school for a couple years as a long-term sub. So I didn't have a degree. I was a sub. The math teacher retired, and I got put in that position for a while. And so I was Mr. Holmes. And so now when I go back to Mina, it's, about half of the people call me Mr. Holmes. And it's been a couple years since I did it, but it's still cool to hear Mr. Holmes every now and then.
Don't you feel, though, like with Sherry, or any teacher, but I have to call her Sherry, she made me do that.
Yeah.
And it almost feels like I'm being disrespectful.
Yeah. Well, and you don't know her as, that's not her name that you
Mm-hmm.
know her as. It just feels weird.
Well, you really didn't know a lot of them as people.
Yeah, you do. At Umpire, maybe more so than most schools.
I would agree.
But there is still a separation, and there has to be.
Oh, sure. It's kind of authoritative kind of separation. There has to be there.
Yeah.
But it's so neat when you get to really, I've gotten to know Sherry as a friend, and it's just been a great transition and into a friendship from a different relationship that man, I really think a lot of now. She's very important to me.
Yeah.
Very important to me. And
something I think is cool is that a teacher like her, being your friend years later, even though they know all this dirt on you, they know, what I mean? They know every stupid decision you made through school, half of the stupid decisions you made since school, if your friend's on Facebook, and they still choose to be your friends. So
Sherry knows things I still hope she hadn't told my dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and they were just across the library from each other.
Oh man, just right there, nerve wracking.
Yeah.
Umpire,
all the time. You walk in and you can just touch every room. There's 3 doors on this side and 3 on that side, and then the back door, and you're out to school.
Yeah, it's not like somebody's not going to see them. You know? And if you're there, everybody there is going to see you.
Yep.
So there was no hiding, no skipping class, nothing.
Not at all. So you said you went to Henderson. Did you finish there?
No, I went the 1 year.
Just 1 year.
And
okay.
Then I went to work for Kenny.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Went to work for Kenny. Started there with him, and got married, and once you do that, and you have some kids and things like that, I mean, it's possible to go back to school,
but it's hard.
It's also really hard on your family.
Yeah. My mom went back after her and Dad's second divorce. I was in 8th grade, and she went back. So she went to school all day and worked all night. She was home for a couple hours a week. She'd come in on Sundays and go to church and take a nap, and then she was back on the road for a week.
Oh, that's rough.
She got it done. I won't say it was easy on anybody, but she got it done. And I just finished my schooling, actually. In May, I got my bachelor's.
I remember seeing that on...
Of course, I'm not married and don't have kids, so...
Hey, it's still an accomplishment, man.
But I got it done.
Once you get a little bit older, the harder it gets.
Absolutely.
The more separated you are from from your high school, you know, stuff you learned there. And one of my boys came in the other day. Hey, Dad, I'm borrow your Wi-Fi. You know, do some homework. And I go over there, and he's got, you know, the periodic table out and all this stuff, and he's finding moles and all that. And I'm just like, that makes me want to throw up just thinking about it.
Man. Yeah.
Rough, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I enjoyed all the learning, but I don't want to do anymore. I have no desire for a master's. I have no desire for. I don't plan on using my bachelor's. I just had to get it for personal reasons, personal freedoms, to let go of some things from the past. But I definitely don't. I'm good now. I don't have something else I need to let go of to get a master's.
Definitely an accomplishment, though, and something. One of my regrets, you know, and I've thought about going back maybe when JC makes it through high school and gets, you know, in college and stuff, and I'll probably chase her.
Yeah, just go with her.
We'll probably be roommates, you know.
Yeah, chase the boys away.
Oh yeah.
Make sure she gets a good education.
Yeah, I just want her to do whatever it is God wants her to do.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give a bunch of advice because I don't know what He wants for them, and I'm going to let Him handle that and let them hopefully listen and learn from. What I'm more about as far as parenting is I don't try to govern their decisions about what they want to be or anything like that. I just remind them of my mistakes and where I'm at now and the things that I wish I had done differently.
Yeah.
That, you know, it's not going to stop it all, but they're going to make their own. But if I can just help them to stay focused by remembering that Dad screwed that up, you know, and I don't want to be like Dad. Nobody wants to be like Dad.
We know what it's like when you try it this way. My high school, my senior quote in the yearbook actually is, learn from your parents' mistakes because you won't live long enough to make them yourself. You'll be too busy making your own. That's my senior quote.
So true, though.
It's so true. I've learned from a lot of my parents' mistakes, and golly, I've made some doozies of my own.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, and some of them don't ever go fully away.
Yeah.
Those are the mistakes you don't want to make, is the ones that
stick with you.
They stick with you forever. But I probably wouldn't change anything because I am who I am because of a lot of them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I wish I would have learned them an easier way, but I've never been much about the easy way.
Yeah.
But, you know, going back, I mean, sons have graduated, they're in college. JC's, you know, hundreds and everything, and doing great. And, you know, I've started a health and wellness business, and I'm really enjoying learning about what's the healthy way to live my life, not only physically and what I eat and everything, but mentally, spiritually, to be a well-rounded person of value.
And that takes some trial and error. Someone asked Albert Einstein how he felt about failing inventing the light bulb 1,000 times. And he said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb is simply an invention that takes 1,000 steps to get there.
Oh, that's,
you know,
perspective is, I'm huge on perspective.
Yeah, that's everything.
And I've really pushed that on my own personal, my fire pit talks, and perspective in life is one of the key ingredients to joy and success. Because I'm one of those type of people, I will really just love to beat myself up over every little flaw and every little thing. And while that may seem noble, it's not healthy.
It's not healthy. Not at all.
It's not healthy at all. And trying to do better on that front. A lot of what I've learned since I began with Arbonne was, your gut health, your body, your intestinal tract, and all those things. They control a lot of your emotions, how you process things, how you see the world. And being in a state where you're healthy enough to make some decisions really. It's a priceless thing to learn. And if I could give anybody advice out there that may be listening, is have perspective in everything. Look at things from every direction you possibly can. Surround yourself with people who also do that.
Yeah. You're the average of the 5 people around you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And try things. Try a lot of things, and see what it is, where your gifts lie, and you can find things to do to make money.
Yeah, you can always make money.
I mean, you can make money doing anything.
Even taking pictures.
Taking pictures. I work for a natural gas company. Was never my dream. Still isn't. It's a great gig.
Yeah.
It's a great gig, and I get to make my money that way, and then I make a little bit, with Arbonne, but I love to do it, and so I can kind of do the best of both worlds. And since I started Arbonne, and I've been a better employee to my company.
Yeah.
Because I'm healthier and I make better decisions, and I still make some doozies, but overall average, I'm a better employee now after taking control of my own body and learning how to manage my own emotions and looking outside of myself. That is something that's so hard to do. You can get so inwardly focused that you have a flawed perception of reality.
Yeah.
And learning to look outside of yourself, learning to really care about people, that's where the joy's at, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's where the joy's at. And I hate it took me this long.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we're all a work in progress. It's like Jason. You met Jason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Jason when we play golf. One day's great, and then the next day sucks. We're always working on it. As soon as you think you got it figured out, I promise you, you're wrong.
Oh,
as soon as you think you got it figured out, you're going to slice the ball and it's gone. You're going to screw up in life. You're going to make a bad decision. You're going to do something off.
Yeah, a guy told me one time, you will wind up on a stage of some kind.
Yeah.
In your life, because God is prepping you for something. It's a purpose.
Told you this talking about you personally or just in general?
All of us.
All of us. Okay.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Every child of God, it has a purpose, and you matter. And no matter how small you feel like you are, or how small you feel like your purpose is, there are no small purposes.
Well, and you're not the one that gets to decide that either.
No.
Which is kind of reassuring.
For sure. But there's no small purpose to God. And your job is not to decide the purpose. Your job is to put in the work on whatever it is. Maybe it's photography. Maybe it's Arbonne. Maybe it's the President of the United States. That's just one purpose and one person. And they all matter just the same.
Yeah.
But never, ever go into that purpose feeling like it's not important. And when you get there, whatever stage it's on, don't ever let the stage become bigger than you.
Yeah.
Prepare yourself. When Jesus went to the cross, Jesus was all God but all man, right?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't sit around eating Doritos.
Yeah.
Okay? He spent a lot of time working, a lot of time walking, and a lot of time preparing spiritually for the cross. He had to carry it. He had to be nailed to it. He had to deal with things that we'll never understand as human beings spiritually that were going on. And he spent his life preparing for that purpose. And he was successful in it. And he showed us a great picture of how we're supposed to do things and the way we're supposed to love people. He who is without sin, let him cast the first stone. Love, understanding, perspective.
Yeah.
all of those wonderful attributes that Jesus had and still has
that we're all so horrible at.
that we're so terrible at. Yeah.
Even those of us that try are still not the best.
But to love us enough
Yeah.
to come show us and to come pay our price. I'll never understand in this life or in the next. I'm appreciative of it to a point I can't explain in words, but I'll never understand how the creator of all the world and of me not only saw enough worth in me and cared enough about me in a love that I can't understand either to do what he did for me and then not just throw me to the wolves. If I were God, I'd have blown this place up.
Yeah, long time
You
ago.
know, I'd have blown it up, but it was never his plan to. He knew that Levi and Josh were going to be just screw ups, you know.
Yeah.
But he did what he did, and he walks with us every day, and he's understanding with us every day, and he's patient with us every day. And that's how we should treat people. That's how we should treat our kids, and that's how we should treat ourselves.
Yeah. That's the one I struggle with. Not that I'm perfect in any way, but I feel like I do try really hard to love others and be kind to others and give back. Probably not as much as I should, but I'm pretty hard on myself. I tend to be pretty hard on myself in a lot of areas, you know. But that's just, I think that's part of being human.
Well, I saw a meme or a GIF or some creature.
Yeah, one of those little
creatures.
There were words and pictures.
Yeah, of some type on one of the social media platforms one day. And it was talking about parenting. And it was a simple thing, but it meant so much to me. It said, if you're worried about whether or not you're a great parent,
You are.
you are one.
Yeah.
And if you're worried about whether you're pleasing God, you probably are. Because you're trying.
Yeah.
And you're trusting in Him. And so if you're not worried about it, you got to...
That's when you think you got it figured out.
What did the dodgeball say? You got to chickadee check yourself before you rickety wreck yourself.
I was thinking of dodge, dip, dodge, dive, duck, and dodge.
You got dodge twice
All the
there.
dodges.
Lots of dodge, lots of D's. Yeah.
So yeah, life's full of curveballs, man. It seems like constantly changing. So you were married to the twins' mom,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys divorced, and then you had a short marriage after. So are you married now? Single?
No, I'm not married now. I actually had been dating a wonderful woman. Just the best one I've ever met.
Yeah, I met her. She was pretty cool.
She was very cool,
Yeah.
very cool, and long distance relationship, and lots of variables there and things, and just very recently decided that wasn't, what God was working towards in my life and in hers, and awful to have to end something like that, and still very fresh to me, and so just one of those things. You find somebody and they would be the one if there weren't all these other things.
Yeah.
And that's a hard decision to make, and it's a hard one not to make, at the same time. And I struggled with it for a while, and she did too. And fortunately, we're going to be able to remain friends and help each other in any way that we can, support each other.
That's awesome.
So, and I don't think it should be any other way. It's very not always possible.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, things don't always end on good terms.
They don't. And when you're looking for someone to spend your life with, it's very easy to, if you're always looking for Prince Charming, you see whenever you go.
Yeah.
If you're always looking for, your princess or whatever, everyone you meet, it must be her.
Yeah, it's got to be her.
It's got to be her because
I asked God to send her to me, and there she is.
There she is. Absolutely. It's okay that she's on meth, and it's okay that she's in jail, and it's fine. I can go visit her.
He wouldn't give me a challenge I couldn't handle.
Right, and you start making a lot of compromises, and that's how you end up back in that place you don't want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hurt and alone and confused and hurt. Just like dodgeball. There's got to be two dodges.
Yeah,
there's two hurts.
Hurt, alone, confused, and hurt.
Yeah, hurt.
And that's that's something I was excited to talk to you about. I didn't know about the recent breakup until just a while ago, and I hate that it's so fresh. But being a single guy as a Christian, brutal, and not being 18 where you get to go to Wednesday night and there's 100 other single Christian females there for you to pick from or get to know. I'm 32. You're, what do you say, just turned 40?
Yeah, I'm 29 again.
29
for the
again.
11th time.
So, how many single 40-year-old women are in your church that haven't been married 5 times or have 27 kids?
None that I'm aware of. None.
Yeah.
It's a weird spot for me because I don't want to have any more kids, and so if I marry someone that's very much younger than me,
yeah,
they're probably going to want that.
Yeah.
And you're talking about older than me
they got grandkids.
Yeah. It's just
not that there's anything wrong.
No, nothing
with grandmas or having grandkids.
No,
but
nothing. I've dated a woman before that had a grandkid.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me at all. But it's one of those things. It's then you've got a lot of variables, and you don't know about crazy ex-husbands or you're taking someone's word for why they've been divorced twice like me.
Yeah.
And I have to explain that if I go to date someone and it's hard to say because I was stupid, and that's not attractive.
Yeah.
And so
the next question, are you still stupid?
yeah. Are you still what's changed? And that's really the road I've been down is I've got some things I need to do better, and I've got some things I need to do less, and I've got some things I need to do more, and I'm trying to figure all that out right now, and it's very confusing. Of course, you've got the whole, especially as a Christian, you've got the whole, we're all creatures who are sexually driven, and you've got the desires of any other man.
Yeah. And you know what sex is. It's not like you're a 16-year-old in high school that has just heard about it. You have kids. You've been married.
Been married a couple
you know
times.
What you're missing.
And you've had times when that was available to you at the drop of a hat, and there was nothing wrong with it. And now all of a sudden,
yeah,
there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
And it really messes a lot with your head. Because scripturally, you don't scripturally have the right to do that.
Yeah.
And
you're probably not going to find a good life mate if you're constantly bouncing from bed to bed to bed.
No, and
that's where situationships come from.
Yeah, and drama, and just, I tell you what, I live a quiet life now. I live a quiet life. I'm not a hermit. I go to the Arbonne conferences, and I don't go to the bars, and I don't go to the clubs, and I don't have anything wrong with somebody if they do.
Yeah.
I don't do that because I've done it before, and I know where it ends for me.
Yeah, it's like you were saying earlier before we were recording. Then what? When you go on these adventures or you do these random things with random people,
Yeah,
then what? You know, what happens next?
that's like a thing God gave me one time, because I was trying to justify, as
Yeah.
I am very, very good at, justify things that I wanted to do, whether they were sexually, whether they weren't. It applies. It's kind of a blanket
Yeah. Yeah.
approach, but it's. I really, really wanted to do something that I had no business doing, and for once, I prayed about it first, and that's what God said. That's what I felt in my heart was like. Okay, well, I can gratify my flesh, but then what?
Yeah.
Then I've got guilt, and I've got embarrassment, and I've got shame.
What blessings have you sacrificed?
What? Right, right.
Given up?
And here's another thing: is one day when I get married again, if that happens, do I want my wife to know that I have a long, long list of women that I can see in my head right now?
Yeah. And you wonder about her list.
Wonder about her list, and we've all get past. I mean, you get my age, and you got kids that are graduating. You've been married a couple times. I mean,
If you're still a virgin, they make a movie about it.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, there's one.
Yeah, there was one, Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, yeah, awful movie. Anyway,
Yeah.
But you come with, and I don't want to say baggage,
But that's what it is, really.
but
I mean,
you come with experience.
yeah. Whether it's good or
Good or
bad,
bad.
yeah, you got it.
And I believe God, can bless that marriage. I believe He can soften our hearts and erase our memories of some things when we have love for someone. True love that we really like, sacrificial love for our spouse, and all those other things fade off into another lifetime that doesn't exist anymore, from a guy that doesn't exist anymore either.
Yeah.
But be very careful, for sure, who you share your heart with, who you share your bed with, who you share your body with, who you share your money with, who you share your time with. Knowing your own value, and seeing yourself through God's eyes, and seeing what you're worth. And I'm not talking about an arrogant type of,
Yeah.
I'm amazing.
Understanding your value to God.
Understanding that,
who you are.
and understanding what the picture, what marriage represents. It's a picture of the love Christ has for the church, and the Bible even says, "Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church." And so when you put that kind of weight on every decision, you still might do something stupid once in a while, but I promise you, if you're like me, you won't enjoy it all that much.
Mm-mm.
And then what?
Yep. 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 It used to be you do stupid stuff and enjoy it and then feel bad about it later. But as you get older and wiser and hopefully closer to God, if you're a Christian, you still do stupid stuff. But like I said, you don't even enjoy it while you're doing it. You already regret it before it's over.
Yeah. Been there,
Yeah.
done that.
So what do we do as single men that aren't 20?
I'm going
that
to
are-
castration. Maybe?
Castration, yeah.
might be
I
the
mean,
thing.
so I don't go to bars. I'm not a drinker. I mean, every now and then I have a drink, but I'm not a bar person, and,
No.
and I don't have a lot of friends, so it'd just be me anyway. So I don't go to bars. You go to church. There's, I'm 32. I want to get married and have kids. I've never been married. I don't have any living kids. I want to get married and have kids. So, I'm not looking for somebody that's 40 and has a high school senior, already has their own kids. I'm okay if somebody has kids, but I'm looking for somebody younger, somebody around my age or in their 20s. That there's not a lot of that at church. I don't go to the bars. So where do you go as
Well, you're looking for the opposite thing I'm looking for. So I guess when I find the opposite thing, I'll just
you'll send me
funnel them
send me
down
directions.
to you.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't,
We'll just have an exchange program.
well, basically what it boils down to is this: you don't look too hard because you will find something if you're looking too hard.
Yeah.
You'll find the wrong thing most of the time. And also, you've got, if you say you trust God and you do the things you should be doing, you have very little time to do the things you shouldn't be doing.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good things to do.
There's a lot of good things to do.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you do those type of things. You be the type of man now that you want her to find when she gets here. That's body, mind, spirit, all the way around. If you look at yourself right now and you're honest and you say, am I right now, body, mind, and spirit, the person that I want my wife to find when she gets here? And the answer is anything but a resounding yes.
You got work to do.
Thank God that you haven't found her.
Yeah.
Now, He's blessing you by withholding her until you're ready, until you have really trusted Him.
Yeah.
And then and only then, pray that, God, do not send her until I'm the man that she deserves. Do not send her 1 second too early. I'm lonely. Be honest with Him. I'm lonely. I'm tired of being alone. I'm feeling the clutches of time start to make me panic. And I'm starting to have fear that I won't find them. And He says, that's not trust. By the way, bud, you got some work to do.
Yeah.
You lean on me. You take care of yourself. You get this photography business started and going like you have. And I mean, going like wildfire. You pour your time into that. You pour your trust into God. And I can promise you, if it's in His will for you to meet her, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah.
Except for drag your feet on the stuff you're supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yeah. And it's kind of weird you say that. And I've told a few people this, and I always hesitate saying it, especially if I'm not talking to somebody that's not a Christian or doesn't believe in hearing from God. But I actually started doing photography because I felt like God told me to. I was doing photography, taking pictures here and there, not really doing much of anything. And I was working at the high school, subbing and stuff. And some stuff happened there and kind of ended that. They, had a new teacher come in and whatever. And felt like God told me, pick up your camera, trust me, and go with it. And this was December, right before Christmas, 2 years ago. And got online. My credit card upped a few $1,000s randomly. So I bought a computer, I bought a new camera, I bought a lens, and I went out and took some pictures. And those first few pictures I took with that new lens and stuff are what everyone knows me by. The road picture that's on the wall. I have postcards of it and stuff. And it's really weird how it's worked out. Last year, I had hardly any business last year. I mean, nothing. I was finishing up school. I was living in Mena. Luckily, I had a place to stay that I didn't have to pay rent at. Just had hardly any business, but somehow I was able to buy tons and tons. I don't want to say how much, but tons and tons of equipment. And then I moved here in January. Nobody knows me in Fort Smith. Moved here without a thing on the books. I did my first portrait session of the year on April 8th. I moved here in January with no money, no furniture. I had a camping chair from Walmart in my living room. And within 6 months, I had fully outfitted the apartment. It's been crazy, man. It's worked out. I've got a second camera now. I've got Jason that goes and helps me with shoots. I've got my little brother coming up to help me with some stuff. It's just God's putting it together. I'm not doing everything right, but I feel like I'm trying, and I feel like He knows that. I actually had a woman at church, not last week, but the week before. I was trying to sneak out of church and leave real quick. It was the anniversary of losing our daughter. It had been 6 years since we lost her, and I wasn't handling it very well, and I didn't want to talk to anybody, but I still want to go to church. So church was ending. I was grabbing my coat, and I'm out the door. And this woman come up here and grabbed me and stopped me before I could leave and said that God sent her to me and told her to tell me that my life was like a puzzle, and there was just a few pieces missing for it to be complete, and that I was on the right track. Just keep doing what God told me to do, keep working on myself, and that the puzzle was coming together. And man, that helped so much. Helped a lot. And, anytime somebody's me anyway, I grew up old school holiness, old school Pentecostal, no TV, no radio, long hair, no makeup, no jewelry for women, no facial hair for men. Very
no makeup. You have great skin though.
So for me anyway, anytime somebody comes up to me and says God told me to say this is going to sound really judgmental, and I don't mean it that way, but being the way I was raised, we were taught if you don't look like this, basically if you're not Amish almost, you're not really a Christian. You're just somebody that goes to church, and I don't believe that now at all. I didn't really believe it then, but I don't have that belief, but I still kind of hesitate. Anytime somebody says God said this or God told me to say this, it's, okay, well, did he really? I don't know you. I don't know anything about your life. Are you a crazy person, or did God really say this to you? Anyway, so she said that to me, and I walked out of the church. We talked for a few minutes and prayed, and I walked out of the church. Didn't shed another tear the rest of the day. I was in a good mood. Monday was actually the anniversary of losing Chloe, but Sunday is when I was really struggling. Jason came over Monday and just hung out all day and edited and stuff, and I didn't shed a tear all day. I felt fine. I was in a good mood. I was laughing and happy. Really felt like that message was for me. So maybe I'll kick my butt in gear and start doing a little better. We'll see.
Well, if you're worried about it, remember.
If you're worried about it, you're doing good.
You're doing good. But
that's what they say, but I still worry.
So you love the golf ball, huh?
I recently started playing golf. I've never liked sports of any kind. Never really played sports. I just could care less about them. My older brother was obsessed with sports. That was his thing. I just could care less about them. But I moved here in January, and for those of you that don't know, the apartment complex is on a little par 3 9-hole golf course. And so in March, I thought, man, I'm going to see what this golf thing's about. I need some stress relief. I was really depressed. I moved up here. I didn't know anybody. Had no friends. I left the church I'd been going to. I left the men's groups I'd been going to, the friendships I'd formed, and I was just here on my own. But I didn't want to go back. I don't want to live in Mena. I don't, it's time for me to have my life. And even though I was where I wanted to be, I was still alone and depressed. So I thought, well, this is just part of it. I got to get through it. So bought some golf clubs. I thought, well, we'll see what this is, and went out and started playing. All of a sudden, I was playing every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day. So I sold that set, and I've now invested entirely too much money into a very, very nice set. But I play every day. If I go to Mena, I play in Mena. I go to DeQueen, I play in DeQueen. When I go to Kansas City, I play there. I'm hooked, man. I love it. Some days I'm great. Some days it looks like I've never hit a golf ball in my life.
Man, that's crazy. Because I bought a set of golf clubs when I was in college.
Yeah?
And I didn't have much time to play. But I went and played probably 3 or 4 times. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then this guy one day that lived next door to me asked me if he could borrow my golf clubs.
Oh, man.
And I said, sure. He lives right next door. Sure, man. Never saw the guy or the golf clubs again. He'd went around and borrowed money from everybody he knew and then left.
I lost a truck that way one time.
Oh, and ever since, I've never hit a golf ball, I don't think, since.
Really?
It just put like a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with the sport or anything. I've always been more of an outdoorsman, a hunter, you know,
and see, I did all that when I was younger. Growing up in Umpire, we went deer hunting, turkey hunting, squirrel hunting, every kind of hunting you can do. As I got older, I kind of quit hunting and started hiking. And then I got even older and my knees started hurting and my back started going out, and now I play golf.
That's the interesting thing about when you get a little bit older.
Yeah.
And just recently, after, deer hunting, turkey and everything, duck hunting my whole life, I used to think that I loved to kill deer. But I found out that I love to hunt deer.
Yeah, you love the time in the woods.
I love the time.
Process.
And I love the lessons that the outdoors teach me. And they teach me a lot of things about myself.
Yeah.
About my patience. How long am I willing to? How bad do I want this animal?
The deer is just the tangible payoff.
Right.
Yeah.
And talking about finding a wife, and I don't want to compare women to big bucks or anything, but I'm about to. Something that happens when you're deer hunting, and you've had some experience at it, is, I mean, it seems like sometimes you have to wait for hours and days, weeks even, sometimes years, um, and you fantasize about this big buck or this whatever turkey or whatever you're hunting, and
I feel like I know where this is going.
all of the ones that, and I've done my share of killing deer and turkeys and everything, and been all over the country doing it. And something I noticed, that by the time I've killed the buck, it happened so fast that I barely even remember it happening. And now I'm standing here either taking a picture or, admiring this deer or whatever. And it happened so fast that I didn't realize it was even happening until it was over. I'm like, wow, I got him, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so many things in life are that way. When you focus so much on the payoff, or you focus so much on the prize or the wife, you miss a lot of beautiful sunrises and a lot of beautiful sunsets, and the colors of the leaves, and the way the light changes, the colors as it hits them, and the time alone with God, and all of those things. And if you focus so much on the end, on the payoff, you'll find that once you get there and you do kill the big one, or meet the woman or whatever, that you missed out on some of the most beautiful time and some of the most beautiful experiences that you could have ever had, because you were worried that it wasn't going to work out.
Yeah.
And now, not near the man stands over the trophy. Not near the man stands with the wife at the end, as should have been, because he squandered all of his time missing the beauty of the journey.
Yeah. That's good. That's deep. My Uncle Brian is a big hunter, and growing up, he's in the woods every day, 365 days a year. He's out in the woods. He's in the mountains, and it used to I couldn't figure out why. Like, you're months away from deer season. Well, I'm out scouting. I'm scouting. Okay, but that deer's gonna die before deer season gets here. That deer you're scouting
hasn't even grown horns yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter to him. He's out there. He's looking. He's hiking. He's hunting. And something he does, he always prays. And when we're out, we'd be hiking, hunting, getting random middle of nowhere, and there'd be this log, and all right, boys, time to pray. And we'd drop down and pray for 20 minutes in the woods, on a hunting trip. And I know he does that on his own too, not just when he was with us. But yeah, he spent hours in the woods, and he was never one that killed the big bucks. He, now lately he does, but his bucks were never the biggest necessarily, but he enjoyed it the most, and he got the most reward out of it from all the time and work he put into it. That's
the beauty and the trophies and the eye of the beholder, and
yeah,
and I've killed some pretty big deer and stuff. Man, it's never about that anymore. And the best memories I have of the woods are, my dad took me. I killed a bunch of deer. I don't remember those deer. I remember my dad
being
took
with
me.
Your dad, yeah.
And I go down to deer camp with my friends every year. We can't even remember what we killed the year before, but I can tell you everybody that was there.
Yeah,
I can tell you the funny joke.
The stories they told.
Yeah, that he told me at the campfire. I can tell you about the time, so and so did whatever they did. I can't bring that up on live
audio.
TV here, but whatever it was they did, and we laugh about those things, and relationships with people. and the love you have for each other cannot be replaced with any size of deer.
Yeah.
Or any size of fish or any hole in one. It's the relationships and the memories that you make over the years with people that matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
People are all that matter. At the end of the day, everything else is just stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful and grateful to know that I have a handful of people that I can call at any time, and they'll be there. And they want to be around me, and they love me, freckles and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know them all.
that's a special thing that can't be replaced at all.
Yeah.
But well, man, I know you can't stay much longer. You've got band practice tonight.
Yeah, man. I'm starting a 90s rock band. 90s cover band. It's pretty interesting. One of my boys is playing bass. And
okay. What are y'all playing, like Green Day? No, that's more 2000s, ain't it?
No, Green Day was
it
back
90s?
in the early 90s, yeah.
Okay.
We're doing Pearl Jam.
Oh, good music.
Weezer.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm going to throw a little Metallica in there, probably just because I'm an old school rocker. But
we'll have to bring the cameras over one day and take some pictures or do a video or something. That'd be cool.
Yeah, man. I'm going to dig the chain wallet out. We're going to get the band.
The Jinkos.
We've actually named the band. Oh, we're doing a lot of Alice in Chains.
Okay.
We've named the band Flannels and Chains.
That's great. Well, we named the podcast Milk and Cookies.
Milk and Cookies, yeah.
I was going to call it the Daily Struggle, and Jason and I were in here in the kitchen and just debating what do we call it. And I'm standing on that little mat that's in front of my oven, cushion because I like to cook, and it has a cookie recipe on it. It's a cool little mat, cup of milk, cookie recipe, pictures of cookies. I'm just sarcastically, I'm looking down, just rubbing my head. I said, Milk and Cookies. He said, I love it. So, Milk and Cookies.
Man, it's just whatever's clever.
Whatever's clever.
Whatever's clever.
Awesome.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks so much for having me on.
Thanks for coming by.
Great meeting you and us getting to form a friendship.
Yeah.
And,
we'll have to do it again sometime. Get together and go chat, have lunch or something.
I've always got too much to say about nothing. So
yeah. Well, you get that honestly. I've met your dad.
Yeah. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Josh, for being here. That's it for episode 2 of Milk and Cookies. Thanks, man. We'll get all this stuff turned off and get you out of here.
All right.